Hola, hola, bienvenidos señores y señoras. Este video es nuevo y es sobre nuestra llegada en España. Of course, for the remainder of this video, I will just be speaking English. In this video, you're gonna see that we finally made it to Spain. Quite possibly our new homeland if we find a farm here. Before we went to Spain, actually, we did a little trip to Biarritz, which is like a surfy town in the south of France, right by the border. Upon arriving on our beautiful Airbnb, it was nice weather, and we started the next morning off really good with some breakfast in bed. Biarritz is like the surfers mecca of Europe, or at least of France. So there were a lot of surfers having surf lessons in the morning, and we decided to make a walk down to the waterline. But it's a good thing we brought umbrellas because, of course, it started raining again. It pretty much rained all day, so we just hopped from cafe to cafe, bookstore to bookstore, until we found this nice inside market where we had some super delicious food. We were pretty eager to leave this land of rain and Dolly's mechanical problems, so we started driving to the border of Spain. By this point, the road became pretty mountainous, and since we only have a 75 horsepower power horses motor, it was quite a climb here and there, but we just adjusted to the slow lane and let everybody pass us. And before we knew it, we entered San Sebastian, the first big town on Spanish soil. Hola!
We made
zijn
it.
we dan?
We zijn er. Kijk. Spanje!
We were so happy being in Spain, and we loved all the pinchos and the wine and the beer, and just the vibe was completely different immediately, and it really suited us.
Buenos días.
Buenos dias. We zijn in San Sebastian. San Sebastian. En we gaan op zoek naar een ontbijtje. En het is heel leuk met alle hondjes op het strand hier.
After a day and a half in busy San Sebastian, we drove to Zarautz, which is also on the coast and a bit more quiet. Whoever thought that our dolly problems were over? We soon discovered that our water pump had stopped working, so we started a quest to find a new one.
Waar gaan wij naartoe?
Bilbao. Bilbaoji.
Ja. En waar ben je nou op zoek?
Liefde. Heb
Met
ik
een
al.
gaatje.
Oh, en bomba de agua. Een dompelpomp. Dat ons dompelpomp kapot is. Dus er komt geen water uit de kraan.
Ik denk dat een van de allerbelangrijkste dingen is voor deze prinsessen.
Ik wil gewoon mijn handjes kunnen wassen. En er het toiletje door kunnen spoelen. Dus daar gaan we naar op zoek. En dan gaan we een camping zoeken. Of een kampeerplaats. Campingplaats. En dan gaan we denk ik vandaag morgen naar het Guggenheim Museum.
Guggenheim.
Guggenheim!
We decided to take the bigger highways to Bilbao, and this is where I started to poop my pants a little bit. I was really worried that Dolly wouldn't make it up the mountain, or that the motor would overheat, or it would catch on fire and we would be burned alive, etc. etc. Luckily, Lucas was much more confident, dare I say ballsy, on the road, so I just let him drive, and Dolly was a champ, and we made it to Bilbao. Mira esta vista maravillosa. On our way to Bilbao, we had googled for some water pumps, and we found one. The old pump had actually stopped working because we let it run too long without any water in the tank, which is not really good for water pumps, and it had burned through. This new pump only cost us about 25 euros, so it wasn't too big of a deal. Now all Lukas had to do was replace it. This new water pump pumps about 15 liters a minute, which isn't that powerful, but it's enough to wash our hands and flush our little toilet. However, if we would ever wanted to take a shower in the camper, we would need a bigger water pump. But for now, it's just fine. And of course, with one problem fixed, another one arises. So due to all the heavy rain, the roof of Dolly started leaking a little bit above the bed, which is far from ideal. The next day, the weather forecast would be dry for a couple of hours, so Lukas climbed upon Dolly and removed the old silicone kit. After removing every little bit of silicone, the next step is to decrease and clean everything very thoroughly. Then you have to let it dry again a little bit before applying a new fat layer of silicone, and this will surely keep us warm and dry at night. Good job, baby. By the way, this was how we were woken up that morning, with a herd of cows that broke free from the herd leader, the shepherd. In the afternoon we took the bus and it was about 20 minutes to the city center of Bilbao.
Guggenheim!
Most of you probably know that the Guggenheim is the most famous modern art museum in Bilbao, or perhaps in Spain, and so we decided to visit it. We actually did an audio tour for most of the exhibitions, although I can't say it was extremely helpful, since it was very highbrow artsy stuff and we were more existentially confused after it than enlightened by the art pieces. After we conquered this rusty metal maze, we went to the exhibition of Picasso, which we really liked. It was his more unknown and earlier work. I think my highlight was this art piece by the Nigerian artist El Anatsui, and it was just like a huge piece of fabric but made from old beer bottles and little sugar packages. And these sort of blown up tulips by Jeff Koons really cheered us up. It's like a dolly art piece. After this little cultural respite, we went back to Dolly and had to take shelter for Storm Kieran, something like that. Anyway, there was a storm coming with pretty big winds and a lot of rain, so we originally had planned to move inland a little bit to look for the farm, but since that would be a high-risk area, we decided to stay along the coast and move towards the region of Cantabria, where the storm would be less intense. Just in time we found a dairy farm with an open field where we could camp and hunker down. Since I was pretty much demobilized by the fear of Dolly falling over or us blowing away, it was Lukas's time to make dinner. Bon appetit! I must say these were the best storm burritos. Now, like I said, we'd parked in an open field. What we did not notice was how wet the field was when we drove onto it.
Dus krijg ik die stokken tegen mijn hoofd.
Since there was a lot of rainfall the last night, we were hopelessly stuck in a wet field that almost turned into a little lake. If you're thinking we must be the most harmonious couple ever since we kissed before dinner, you're wrong. We had a huge fight because we both thought we knew better how to get Dolly out of this field. Of course, neither of us was right, and the dairy farmer just took his tractor and dragged us out of the field in no time. Very relieved about surviving this storm, and with only rainbows on the horizon, we drove towards Oviedo. And for anyone who is as big a fan of Vicky Cristina Barcelona, the movie, as I am, this was a dream come true. Apart from being the decor for one of my favorite movies, Oviedo is also a pilgrimage town, so you can see a lot of pilgrims that are walking the Camino towards Santiago de Compostela, and so you see a lot of places where pilgrims can sleep, eat and rest for just a little bit of money. I was super happy to find this little chapel from the movie where Juan Antonio took Vicky and Cristina. Oh, Juan Antonio, todavía apareces en mis sueños, mi amor. Anywho, it was time to leave Oviedo and start searching for a Spanish farm. So we contacted all the real estate agents in the area, and in the next video you'll see us visiting a farm multiple times. Will we buy it? Hasta la próxima!